Cool.
Ready?
Let's do her.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Unsolicited Lifting Device. My name is Sam.
My name is Manas.
And we're happy to have you back with us. We have a wonderful guest today, brought in fresh from north of us. And we're here to have a good time. So, guest, introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? My name's Nathan. You might have heard me referred to as Nasty before in this podcast, but I've made an appearance from up north, yes.
The infamous Nasty.
Yeah.
All right, so today, this is being recorded on Monday. What's today's date? Monday, February 8th. So one day, less than 24 hours after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And as you may have figured out by our title and our description, today we will be talking about the Super Bowl. And that's why we wanted to bring Nasty on to talk with us about it. So, Nasty, you want to tell the guys why, and gals, sorry.
All three of you.
I think four now.
We have four.
You want them to know why we wanted to bring you, of all people, on for this?
Sure. So, first of all, it's going to be up to 5 when this airs. My parents are excited.
Yes!
So, just so you know, getting those counts up. But I guess I'm qualified because I actually ref college football, so I spend a lot of my day, a lot of my time talking football, looking at football, so for the most part, I'd say I'm pretty educated about it.
I think pretty much as long as I've known you, you've been the guy where, not just football, like pretty much any sport, anytime any call's made that I don't understand, it's just, all right, like, phone record, text send, why?
Yeah.
And then you get the explanation.
Yeah, and I'm going to drop everything and get it back to you real quick.
Yeah.
I know you care.
So I'm
Going the
definitely
extra
curious. You know, what was your introduction into refereeing? Like, what made you pick that? You know, to go down that path, which is now a career path.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been officiating now for 13 years, I think. I got started in middle school, close to high school, reffing soccer. My soccer coach was like, hey, come ref, make some money. I was like, absolutely. Who doesn't like cash? But then the next spring, they're like, if you get certified, you make more money. Sign me up, right? Why not?
I know when I have the option between money and more money.
Yeah, I go more money.
Like, pull my arm, please. But then we got to college, right? And I started working for intramural sports day one, before we even went to class. So that was good, right?
Yeah.
But I ended up going to work more than class. Also a sign that maybe I was onto something. And then just the drive to stay on the field, just fell in love, right? And now here we are, 8 years after day one of freshman year.
Yeah.
We're going strong.
That's cool. Yeah, I met you junior year, or I guess technically sophomore year, when we were doing housing, and I knew Iron, who knew you from life, from growing up. I met you then, and you were reffing then, and then all through junior year, living in the apartment, and then we moved in the house. Senior year, you were not only reffing for intramurals, you were like driving and doing local, not even just college park, but Maryland, in the state of Maryland, you would drive up to like Howard County sometimes for refereeing gigs.
Yeah, I started reffing high school football our junior year.
Yeah.
So I went through the class that summer, and I actually was doing that to get better at flag football. And that first snap out in PG County, I was like, come on.
Yeah.
It was just such an awesome experience.
Yeah.
And then senior year got more into it, and then after we graduated, I drive all over the place now.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, even after graduation, there was Ohio.
Yep.
And Nebraska. And I did see, because I was stalking your LinkedIn as we were prepping for this. I didn't know this. Sam, he beat us to the A certification.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you guys didn't know
No,
that?
we didn't know that.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Just racking up certs.
I got an ACE certification, personal training, when I was in grad school.
Yeah.
I swindled my advisor into letting me get it for class credit.
Yeah.
I thought I wasn't going to have to take the test. That was the big thing. I was like, I'm just going to learn, write a report on it. And she was like, no, you're not getting the credit until you take the test.
Take the test.
So took it, passed it. Never actually trained anyone, like wrote some plans for my mom and my sister, but it wasn't really something I was pursuing at that time, and I've since let it expire.
Yeah. That's just still a good, I mean, and you've been in fitness, I mean, you've been lifting and working out as you played sports in middle school, high school.
Yep.
You continue to stay. I've worked out with you recently. It's not a bad thing to have, even if you don't keep it certified, if you're not looking at that for a career path, that's not a bad thing to have, like, some foundation in what is one of the top 2 personal training accreditation services in the U.S., if not the world.
Yeah. And for repeat listeners, when we've talked about, hey, we used to like all get up and go at 6 a.m. Nasty was a part of that crew. He's one of those people right in there, and honestly, one of those people that was there more often than I was. So,
well, don't give me that much credit, because I said maybe 2 weeks, and then I said I'm going at 8 a.m. because the weights are still the same. And
well, then you were also you were working. Your work schedule was a little different than ours too. Yeah, like we were getting up, and then most of us had like some kind of office job, during the summer. You were doing like an on your feet, running around with children in a summer camp for the next 8 hours. So yeah, it makes sense. You don't want to get up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, right.
And then we would lift again in the afternoon. So you were there for more of those. If you weren't again dead tired from running the summer camp.
Yeah, I realized I was expending so much energy during the day that it was hurting my body probably more. So we switched it up.
And that's all about intelligent training and knowing your limits, folks, which we'll talk about at some point. So even if, you ref, obviously, the more traditional sports, but there are referees, as we talked in a very recent episode, in the lifting sports too. So this is another career path that you can take if you are into how do we call it? Strong power sports?
Power strong fit body?
Power strong fit body.
Olympic power strong fit body.
Power strong. If you're into Olympic power strong fit body, this is another way you can go, is being the referee, because all those competitions have referees. Yeah. And I'd assume the accreditation process is probably not similar. Too distant. You probably have to obviously need to know the rules and the practices. One thing that I find fascinating for you, because I've seen you go through practices for football testing, the amount of scenarios that you have to go through and know intimately is insane, because it's more than just like what's holding, okay, but then you go, okay, number 43 has blocking number 17 in the one gap, and you go through these very intimate scenarios. What's the studying like for that? Do you just have to know everything, or just is there a way to help, like, if this happens, this is probably the call, or if this happens, that might be the call?
Sure. So I think where I'm at now, I've been doing tackle football for 7 years. I've been doing college for 4. I'm expected by this point to know the rule book in and out. So any play situation. So even those questions that you've seen me doing, I realistically should be getting them correct most of the time. When I got started, it was more of knowing a little bit to apply it to the rest. So you start with definitions, right? What does a touchdown actually mean? And then if you know that, I can apply it to different situations. So it's kind of been a progression of start out small, now we're building upon it, and that's why we take those rules tests, because they're so crazy, they're so out there. How am I supposed to remember all of that?
Yeah. I remember this summer I was sitting out on the porch with you as you were going through it. I'm sitting here like, dude, like, this is the literal, it will never come up ever, and you've got 5 of those questions in a row.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having trouble even conceptualizing the play, and you're sitting here, well, like, okay, so he did this, and he did that.
Yeah, and then I have to apply that onto the field.
Yeah,
right? So
under pressure.
Under pressure.
While you're getting yelled at by my coach.
Yep, exactly.
With cameras on you.
Yeah, once you actually really at every level, because even in high school you've got the film, and then obviously collegiate you might be televised, that kind of stuff. I definitely remember playing football. I think we're at Paul VI in Virginia, and our coach was just screaming at an official, and we're just on the field like. I think I ended up saying, like, our coach could talk an apple off a tree. Like, he's just going... And again, to y'all's credit, like, you have to kind of make a call and stick with it. Like, I mean, obviously there's... You have the other referees that did that, But for the most part, when you make a call, like, that's it.
Yeah. In football, it's not that bad, but imagine basketball, right, where it's immediate, we're stopping the play. In basketball, we can't say no. You were wrong. In football, if Monis throws a bad flag and go, hey Monis, that flag sucked. Let's pick that up, and that happens all the time.
Yeah.
But still, now we're getting yelled at while trying to think about what just happened.
Yeah.
It's pretty stressful.
That's a lot. there was a bit, I think like probably around a year before I took up coaching, where I was like, hey, like reffing would be cool. A lot of my friends like did it with soccer, and I was like, well, like wants to involve in sports somehow, and I think the first game I watched in person after having the idea in my head immediately was like, nope, this isn't not for me.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a ton of pressure. I mean, and in recent memory, when we had that replacement ref scenario in the NFL, like, again, I couldn't do that job, so I'm not going to sit here and say they did terrible, but that's, I mean, you can see the impact of that bad officiating, whether for lack of knowledge, whether for, and then you get into like point shaving and manipulation of games. You see it in the NBA more than the NFL, but you see the impact that having bad officials can have on the whole game. And like, I mean, that can be your season, you know. I mean, didn't the Packers or that team got knocked out of that was a playoff game when that, or was that not? I might be making this one up, but I remember it was a big deal when they, one official was like no catch, the other one said touchdown. It's like ooh, and again there wasn't the A-team crews, so people started, SNL did a sketch about it because of course they did. It was close down the line.
And I don't think we're saying that refs are perfect all the time, but like they're human. Mistakes are going to be made. It's just more of, I think you all have started to see the other side.
Yeah.
Right? You're not just that fan of, they messed with my team. You understand that.
Refs are people too.
Yeah. We're people too with feelings. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, as soon as you're like, well, like, you guys start to see the other side, it's like, yeah, because we know you.
Yeah.
Right. And then we hear your story, and then at the end it's like, okay, yeah, like... Yeah, maybe that guy has feelings too. Maybe this isn't someone that only exists.
Chanting "die ref dies" a little rude when the entire stadium's
just a little,
just a touch. I mean, when we had it, where I work, when we have refs come, we have them park so they can literally leave the field, get in their car, and go. Like they have like premium park. So for football games it's only 7, or however many. And sometimes they ride together. So there is like we park them here. They go from the field to their cars and they're out. Like it takes them 30 seconds to be off campus. Again, we've never had issues, but we had some close calls a couple times.
Taking precautions is why you can get up and say we've never had issues.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I haven't had those types of issues, but I back into my space every time. Mm-hmm. So all I have to do is, if I have to, like, God forbid, like I can just jump in. Let's go.
And you're out.
I mean, I have been escorted to my car by police before. Mm-hmm. We had a game that the stands cleared and we're fighting players, cheerleaders were fighting players, water boys were fighting fans. It was nuts. That was like my second year, our senior year.
Yeah.
We just went straight to our cars. They were like, let's go.
No one threw like a flag, like, ha ha. Okay, no.
We were like, this
we didn't
game's
appreciate
over.
that. This is not the police, are not the referees.
Yeah, exactly.
So the game. All right. So Super Bowl was yesterday. Mm-hmm. Shout out the Buccaneers and Tom Brady getting to 7th. Good for them. Mm-hmm. I mean, as far as your area, not a ton of crazy penalties. Everything was pretty.
I was really hoping it'd be one of those years where there's a wildly controversial call. That's like, all right, nasty. Just next 20 minutes, here you go. But it didn't really seem like. I think the most controversial thing was Tom Brady also not getting flagged for the thing with the honey badger, but the honey badger thing with honey badger. But like even that is like fairly low key. Is like no one's even remotely trying to argue the game was based off that.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Like I thought we were gonna have a lot to talk about, but we don't. I like most of the calls. I've seen some chatter about that unsportsmanlike conduct, but for the most part, in my mind, like you can't run after the goat and stick fingers to his face. Like, what do you think's gonna happen?
Yeah, and I mean I think probably that would be the key of like, because he clearly said something to him first, but it's that it's the retaliation is always what gets the call, and then you're sticking fingers, which taken to an extreme could be assault, or you're trying to poke eyes. I mean, we had that in the game. We had one of our players get poked in the eye in a scrum, in the pile, which you can't do anything about. But you know, that's
not
no
something
good.
you wanna see.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's not it's not like an ejection thing. Like, it's a pretty clear, like, okay, how about no, we don't do that.
Just cut it out and we'll move on.
Yeah. And I mean, it happened to the Bucks on later in the game where, again, a finger wag in the face, like, really,
Well, I did see a thing about that because I think it was week 12 when the Chiefs beat the Bucks. Hill, after scoring against them, did a flip in the touchdown, and so that was an allusion back to that because that's when he pulled up.
no,
was like,
no flip for you.
So I think, and like even that he was watching a post game interview. He's like, yeah, like he's like, no, like I know, like I'm not defending it, but like at that point, you know, just you do it, you get it off your chest, and you move on.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like I can respect that. That's just part of the game at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tom Brady also apologized, right? So I think they recognize it. It still like isn't the best to see, but it kind of encourages the youth. But they apologized. They did the right thing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they're like, this is a job to them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
it's, you know, and we've all played sports. We all know that you can your emotions can run high. You can get agitated one way or
Especially
another.
a game like this.
Yeah, this is the game, the game.
And like it's not even just like, oh, it's the Super Bowl. The lead up to this Super Bowl was a little different.
Yeah.
So you got Brady, who was essentially kicked off the Patriots.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother thing that I'm sure we'll come back to. But you got Brady, who's just essentially kicked off the Patriots, having like a large part of like he was the reason they brought in Gronk. He was the reason they brought in AB.
Mm-hmm.
He had to like personally vouch for AB for him to end up on that team. Running back scored 4th touchdown.
Fournette.
Thank you. He also was the reason that Fournette was on that team. And so like you got Brady kind of like assembling his squad, going up there, and then you've got Patty Mahomes and all of the GOAT conversation surrounding him, and that's a whole nother thing again. But like the way this was built was, like if the Chiefs win, it's like it's a passing of the torch, and I mean the Chiefs were definitely the favorites coming into this. Vegas already has the Chiefs as the predominant favorites to win it next year.
Jeez.
And so. It wasn't even just the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This was different.
Yeah.
But I guess we touched on it, the GOAT conversation.
The GOAT. Yeah. So that was, and this will probably be another conversation at another time too. But like what I thought of when I wanted to have a GOAT conversation is distinguishing between what makes someone a GOAT and then versus like a Mount Rushmore conversation. And the thought being like, I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, Mount Rushmore's not a good analogy. We need more because so many things have different. But the way I was thinking about this was, and I might have been very high when I was thinking about this, but like when you look at Mount Rushmore, like what's the point of those 4? Like what are those 4 people? What is that significant? What's the significance? So I thought, all right, you get someone who is like an originator, an OG. You get someone who's an innovator in some massive way. You have someone who popularizes, and then you have what I call the shadow GOAT. And then when I looked up why the people were made Mount Rushmore, it was like George Washington, who started the thing, Jefferson, who was a big founder of the Constitution, blah, blah. Roosevelt, who did the national parks and helped expand, and then Lincoln, because,
Lincoln.
Yeah, like freed the slaves. And then then the other thing, it was keeping the unions together. Yeah. So it was, Lincoln was the outlook, but the other things were pretty similar. Yeah. But so, for a GOAT conversation, a greatest of all time, I don't think there's many areas where you can have one person be the top of the heap and in so many measurable ways that it is unanimous 100%. I mean, sports, because there's eras, you have who was their competition, and music. I mean, music's just so many different things. It's hard to pick like who was the greatest, whatever. But yeah, so like Tom Brady is, I think, widely considered a GOAT in football. And this is one of those. It now becomes like he has.
Well, so that's where I was going to jump in and be like, everything you said, I agree with you. Every single part of it, except for like, for example, soccer. You want to talk about who the GOAT in soccer is, or like even who the Rushmore is? We can be talking about that all night long. But I think at this point, especially if we're just going to try and just contain to quarterbacks, there's not really an argument for anyone except for Brady. He's just so much better.
Yeah.
And I think that's just more of a testament to what he's done more than anything else. And this is a guy who I hated until 10 months and a couple weeks ago. And then he's in the NFC now. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
He can win. It's okay. But I mean, this also one, I think this very much will highlight the importance he had in the 6 Super Bowls that the Patriots had, because I think a lot of times, how many times have we heard that Tom Brady's a system quarterback? Mm-hmm. And that it's just Belichick running the show, and especially how well Garoppolo did for the couple games he played, that kind of lent some credence to that theory too.
Yeah. And Castle did well too those couple times when he got in.
Yeah. But I think at this point, this is yes, Belichick is a generational great mind coach. However,
Belichick's not throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page as you, Monis. I think where it changed was yesterday for me.
Yeah.
Right? He went from being with Belichick, that thing that was holding him back, to I left. And I still won.
Yeah.
Patriots didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think now, to me, he has reached that top tier.
Yeah.
But completely agree with what you're saying about Rushmore. I also personally think that Tom should just retire right now.
Retire right after 7.
Absolutely. In my mind, you left Bill. You did what you wanted to do, and why not go out on top?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
honestly,
he might say I got another one in me.
Oh, he already has.
I know he said that,
Yeah.
but in my mind, come on.
Actually, thinking about it now, I agree with you. because you can play more and you can win more, and if you don't, no one's gonna hold it against you. And right now, the Bucs are the second favorites, marginally favored over the Packers. But yeah, with the Patriots basically kicking you off, with the fact that I think it was only the Bucs and the Chargers that showed any real interest in
San Francisco
him.
turned them down multiple times.
Oh my god! Look at all the attention that Deshaun Watson's getting. Not saying that he shouldn't be getting that attention, but how do you not give that attention to Tom Brady?
Right.
I don't care if he's 42. I don't care if he's leaving the Patriots, or I don't care if he's being kicked off the Patriots. He's still Tom Brady. You're telling me he's not better than your starting quarterback?
Yeah.
Now we're saying insert every team.
Insert
but
franchise here.
You can understand the Packers sticking with Aaron Rodgers. You can understand, I don't understand the Steelers sticking with Big Ben, although give him another year, it's fine. But obviously, the Ravens are going to stick with Lamar. There's a couple of teams where it's no, you already have your guy. But the majority of the league, I think if Brady's available, you drop whatever you need to and you go get him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I completely agree with you, where you leave, you immediately win. Just, this is your mic drop.
Mic drop, and really, it can only go downhill. Winning an 8th doesn't change your status.
Yeah.
Right?
It's another cool one, but now you have to wear them on 2 hands. It's
right. Hands are getting heavy. That's why you can't throw the ball downfield.
Maybe you should get an 8th that's all but the thumbs.
True, yeah, you can wear rock, roll, or whatever.
Is that how, if you're that good, is that factor in your decision making? Hey, I still have a finger.
How many of these can I wear at one time? I mean, there was that great Super Bowl commercial where they did the was it the 200th? No, it can't be 200. Maybe it was the 100th year anniversary of the season, and then Tom get in there. He has to take all this things, put some in his hands.
Well, also, does he have to track what fingers he's already had sized so he doesn't get
Yeah, you're right, because it's different. Yeah. And that's those are too thick to get resized at the mall. My mother would go take rings to the mall because she wears small gold things. They just chop it. But yeah, these are almost inch thick pieces of solid gold or platinum that you can't just take.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Gets the pinky stuck on the ring finger.
Yeah.
Which that opens up another problem, because when you win your 5th, you presumably put it on your thumb, because you're not assuming you get a 6th. But now you have a problem because you have 7. So are you?
Not many people have that problem.
Yeah, so I think you're doing one of these or something. You're doing 4 and 3. Yeah, this would be a problem I'd love to have. I'd love to figure out where do I put my next championship ring on which finger.
Yeah, and how long out do you have to plan?
Yeah, true. Like, does he go, okay, I got my 7th. I want to get a full 10. Dang.
Right.
Right, I got it.
First one's going here.
Yeah, I was gonna say honestly, I think he plays at least another 3.
I think
That's
so.
what he
now
said,
that I
right?
think about it, I completely agree with you that he should stop now.
He won't.
He won't.
No.
And I know that.
And I mean, let's see, Evans already has come out and said, hey, like, if you need to cut my salary to make cap space to keep the team together, do it.
Well, he completely changed the culture, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
Like, and it's. If you've never been, and I've never been in a place where it has a bad culture, I've been very lucky with the coaches and people I've been around.
Yeah.
But if you're in a spot where people don't care, like I can say from where I finished high school, the 3 guys, when I finished high school, before I came in, they had a different football coach. Mm-hmm. And my buddy who played under them and then under my coach when I came in was like, dude, he completely changed it. Like, before my coach, it was lackadaisical. Like, we had like maybe 2 practices out of the week and they were really chill. And then new regime comes in, completely changes the culture for those who knew it before.
Yeah.
So it makes a big deal if you have someone like a Tom Brady, someone who was, again, 2 rings ago was in the conversation of greatest of all time. He's definitely solidified his spot atop that mountain. And again, in this case, he has the records, he has the championships to prove it, he's got accolades. I mean, yeah, there's no one right now, and I think you said it, that no one in the league now who you could see being like the next Tom Brady.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think after Brady, I would say Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. I don't think you can compare the two.
Yeah, he's been in the league, what, 2 years?
4.
4? Oh,
Yeah.
so I can count.
And been to 2 Super Bowls. Like, he's gonna win more. He's absolutely incredible. Yesterday, like, even the throws we were doing, there were twice where he hit his receivers in the face.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the end zone.
One of them, he was horizontal above the ground.
Oh, man.
And for 40 yards.
There was another one where, like, he, like, had already been wrapped up in the tackle, was fighting it, got wrapped up again, turns around, tosses it,
Yep.
and that was almost caught for a touchdown.
Yeah, that would have rivaled OBJ's, like, 3-finger catch if he was able to sideline tightrope, 40-yard bomb, and again, the guy who would have caught it dragging his feet through the back of the end zone. Like, it would have been a phenomenal play. But, you know, Butterfingers.
I did see a tweet this morning of, like, I think it was at 31-9, and him just, like, sitting on the ground with the most defeated look on his face, very understandably, and some caption of, hey, look, like, it says Aaron Rodgers' face. I'm like, I can be as good as I want, but based on what's around me. And I mean, also, like, their O-line was kind of, like, mismatched.
They were
put
getting
together
beat
coming
off the
in
ball
end.
so quick.
So, like next year, if those guys stay healthy, that automatically changes things.
Yeah.
But, at some point, like, you need players other than just the quarterback to make plays, and
that didn't happen yesterday. I think what's going to be cool to see with Mahomes to get him to that GOAT category, right, is if he can repeat it. Mm-hmm. They've had 3 really great seasons now, but how much longer is that going to last? Like, even Tom Brady had 10 years between Super Bowls or something like that.
Yeah.
So, can he get over that hump once they're in a slump?
Yeah.
That's the real question.
yeah.
And you can't do, like, I was thinking, because basketball, you can kind of do super teams-ish, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's 5 guys on the court, as opposed to 11 and, you know, these are obviously very different sports. Football, you have much more specialized people. Like, in basketball, everyone can shoot the ball, everyone can score, you know. Like, it's you don't see offensive linemen scoring almost ever. So it's one of those things where you really can't just stack the receivers. You can't just stack like, you really do need 11 guys to be phenomenal, or at least have the capacity to work together in a good system to succeed, because you can't just bring in, you know, the best tight ends and the best things. If your line's not great, it's not going to matter. It really does change you can't just go, oh, well, they just brought in Gronk and Mike Evans and AB. It's like, well, what about the other 10 guys on the field?
Right. So that's one of those things where, like, hindsight being 20/20, you look back now, and it's like, okay, like, Brady going to the Bucks, which, the Bucks who, like, hadn't made the playoffs, I'm reading off here, hadn't made the playoffs in 13 years, had the worst franchise win percentage in American sports.
Really?
Yeah.
We need another men's soccer.
Touche. But like him going to that team, which like even then you look at they've got like 2 Pro Bowl caliber receivers already. They've got defense that was playing well at the latter half of the year. You look back now and you're like, okay, now we see how all this came together.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think he was going to Super Bowl.
No.
I thought Drew Brees was going to knock him out.
Yeah.
I thought Brees was going to knock him out and stop getting in the playoffs, and then I thought Brees was going to knock him out in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, here we are.
Then they played Aaron Rodgers, who had an MVP season.
Yeah.
Knocked him out.
Aaron Rodgers, who's probably... I don't think he's... Aaron Rodgers, who gets a lot of acclaim, but who I would argue is still underrated.
Absolutely.
Like, in terms of, like... God, I'm going to throw them together. Aaron Rodgers and Big Ben, I think, are both, like, very... Like, in terms of, like, guaranteed Hall of Fame quarterbacks, I think those two are very underrated. You know,
So here's a question, because this goes to this. How important, then, is winning the championship of your sport? Because you can go to some other people in other sports who are widely considered excellent, may have been first-round ballot Hall of Famers, didn't get the hardware, so they're not necessarily considered, or they may not be given the respect that, let's go to basketball, Jordan, Shaq, Kobe, LeBron get, because they have Steph, because they have these rings behind them. But you got like Russell Westbrook, who always plays phenomenally, he's killing it in DC, I think. I don't know how to watch basketball, but or like Hard, like these people who are play excellent but don't have those rings, trophies behind it. How much do you think that factors into this conversation?
I'll let you go first. You're going to have a more informed opinion than I do.
I think it depends on the sport. I think there's some sports where it's just so much more difficult to win a championship. Baseball comes first in my mind. But I think in the NBA especially, if you don't have that championship ring, how can you be up there with elite? You couldn't make it all the way.
Yeah.
But I also think that in the NBA, accolades come, like the players of the years, the MVPs come as you're winning championships. So they're kind of hand in hand. I think football, like I'm torn. I think it kind of depends on the position in football.
True.
Where I think quarterbacks, need to probably have a ring.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah.
Or at least have crazy stats. Like Matthew Stafford might never have a ring, but his stats, he's top 5 in some passing categories.
Yeah.
But an O lineman, I'm not necessarily.
We don't have
great.
stats. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how many times did your quarterback get sacked? Well, I was a right tackle. Well,
Right.
yeah.
So that's why, I think football, it depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is when I'm very happy that I did in fact let you go first. Because I agree. I was coming a little more hardline and be like, well, basketball and football, you have to. I do completely agree with your nuance. That quarterbacks are different. Maybe receivers to like a degree, like receivers somewhere in between quarterbacks and like linemen. Like at the very least, hey, like were you like consistently playing well? Were you like, did you take yourself to a team that had a shot?
Calvin Johnson doesn't have a ring.
Yeah.
Was the first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Very
I think.
deservingly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think he also has the stats to prove
Yes,
it, right?
you're
Like,
right.
he was so dominant.
Yeah.
Detroit's not good at football.
And that's why Matt Stafford's leaving. Right?
Yeah.
All right, you guys want to talk about what we think about the league next year?
Sure.
It's a little early.
It's
but
a little. They don't even have the draft yet.
Washington football team to the Super Bowl calling it now.
I will take that bet.
Bold prediction. Yeah.
And because that's not going to be their name next year.
I have no clue. Yeah.
Did they confirm they're changing it? Or
I think.
I think
They're gonna have to.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of grown on me as time's gone, but I think the intent was to change it.
Yeah.
They don't really have a mascot right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think they're going to change it.
I said I like, again, you got the Caps, Nationals, United, Defenders, Wizards, Mystics. There's a theme with them, but I think just something generically patriotic. You can't say Patriots, but Warriors wasn't a bad one. Red Tails with the
Right.
Tuskegee Airmen vibe, and you can keep the R. There's ways you could do it, but Yeah,
You're in the right city for a generically patriotic.
Yeah,
game.
you know, again, like, I mean, at one time we had a Senators. That was baseball, right? Was that baseball?
Hockey?
Oh,
No.
you're right. It was hockey. It was what the Caps were called, I believe. There were the Senators before.
Yeah, because they moved down from. Oh God, so let's call her.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna call Madden. You know, well, they had a Senators, so you know, you could do something.
Yeah.
I want to call it the Washington Congressman or whatever,
Yeah,
but.
Matt, when you're listening to this, let us know.
Yeah, that was the hockey team.
All right, but you're taking the football team playing in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Winning the Super Bowl.
Woo! Calling it now.
Let's say you can't pick the Chiefs, the Bucks, or the Packers because those are the easy calls. So
Chiefs, Bucks, or Packers. I like the Bills.
Yeah, I was gonna go Bills.
Josh Allen was really impressive this year. I think they're going to keep a lot of their players, and I think they're going to win that division again. So as long as they're hot at the end of the season, I like the Bills out because you took the other three away from them.
Yeah, I took the big three out. I like the call. I would hope you're right. I would love to see Stephon get a ring.
Absolutely.
He is a Terp. I'm gonna go with the Rams. Just because I think all they're missing is a quarterback, and now they have a quarterback.
Yeah.
And I mean they've got the coaching, they've got everything surrounding him. So, you know, again, if I'm gonna, they have to. Their road to the game would involve the Bucks and the Packers or someone else knocking them out for them. But like, well, by my own rules, if I can't pick them.
Yeah.
All right, and we haven't had a draft, so tune in and let's see how we did.
Check back in 3 months.
Yeah, see if any. I mean, who's coming out? That I mean, no one
Trevor
really.
Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean that's the only one who could maybe make a difference in some teams, but even still,
he's
it's
not-
like.
Yeah.
They still got a couple years. in
Yeah,
Jacksonville there.
got that. I mean, that's one of the craziest things is like, as good as you can be in college, whatever the sport is, especially football, you can be a star and then get to the pros and it's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole. It's insane the skill jump that happens between, you know, a couple. I mean, you know, you come out of college 22, 23, 24, and then but that like those 27 to 32-year-olds are just dog. Like it's just a whole different. It's insane how big that jump really is.
It's always like inherently disrespectful to me when like people compare, like this Clemson team or this Bama team versus the Browns of old or
I
like
remember,
the 0-16 Lions, where it's like, no, like this wouldn't even be close.
Yeah.
They like jump in the level of play. If you can be an all-star in college and not see a minute of like meaningful game time.
For 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, look at Tom Brady, 230 something, right?
Yeah.
Or 190. No, he was 190, I think.
It's something absurd.
But crazy late, and so not first round pick.
Yeah.
And so I think that really shows you is just because you're that top guy, you won the Heisman, won that national championship, doesn't mean it translates.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Johnny Manziel.
Yep, so that was him, RG3. I mean, that whole era, or like what works in college doesn't work. Like that run pass, you know, that mobile quarterback who can kind of throw. Like Russell Wilson lasted long out of that generation because he can throw. He had the best arm and had the best pocket presence out of them. Yeah. And again, Brady won his 7th. I can probably run faster than Tom Brady. That might be a strike. But, you know, like, he's not known for his speed, and he's...
You know what I can say for a fact? You know at the Combine how you go for as many reps as you can at 225? Brady had 0. Brady did not get a rep. So you can bench more than
bench more than... Okay.
You can bench more than the Super Bowl MVP.
Which I'm pretty sure
not
means
more than his
that
tight end.
ring
I
is
think
yours.
Gronk could probably bench more than me.
I would assume so.
I'm going to put that on my Tinder bio. Can bench more than Tom Brady. Maybe. Who knows? He's probably beefed up by now, right?
The TB12? I don't think he does a lot of heavy weight,
No.
though. A lot of mobility.
So that's something we could talk like and tie into our normal thing we talk about lifting is like how the difference in lifting for athletics versus lifting for either aesthetics or for strength sports.
Yes.
Where like I've heard from, you know, I've seen podcasts of people who train whether it's NFL or whatever, you know, not a lot of deadlifting done, do a lot more Olympic lifting, a lot more explosive stuff. I mean, squats, obviously, bench can be helpful, and that, you know, can kind of just be a
fairly
fun.
universal movement.
Yeah.
But even then, I've seen, like, a lot of times they'll do, like, split squats because actual athleticism, a lot of time you're pushing off of one leg.
And
so
then balance,
Yeah. And Olympic lifting makes sense because you're doing a lot of mobility work in order to move that stuff around. I did see a thing a couple weeks ago. I meant to bring it up last week and completely forgot about it. Where like one of the big reasons why you see this huge trend in like middle-aged, especially men, playing rec sports and just getting these atrocious injuries, and they look to be incredibly in shape, is because they train like a bodybuilder and then go in and and play things that have entirely different demands on their body.
Yeah.
And you can bench all you want. That's not going to help your wrist turn that way.
Yeah, that's not a movement you do. Like, this is a very specific movement. It's not a ton of, like, alignment, kind of, you have that. But really, it's a lot more footwork and getting in positioning than is benching someone off of you. I mean, you hit them, but, yeah, I mean, it's all about your position and then, core strength and really hip drive more than bench press. But, yeah. I mean, I ruptured my ACL playing intramural, flag football. Now, granted, the guy dove into the side of me, so it wasn't like I planted, but still, like, and I really hadn't been, and if I look back, I was skipping a lot of leg day because this was back in my heathen phase, but...
Well, the moon was probably out.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the moon was out. Yeah, it was the vernal equinox, couldn't do legs. But, I've always wondered, like, hey, if I had been, doing legs more consistently, what would, could I have avoided, what could have been different kind of thing, Again, he literally dove into the side of me. Like, it wasn't, nothing I could have really done, but I've always thought, I wonder if I, had been working my legs more, not just doing chested buys, would I have avoided a ruptured ACL potentially?
Yeah, I don't know. Have you guys ever seen Tyreek Hill working out?
I have not.
No.
It's a lot of stuff on balance balls and stuff that he's shaking for that exact reason, working on his knee stability and all that. And the dude's still shredded.
Yeah.
I'm sure he moves weight around, but it shows you don't have to prioritize that, right? He's prioritizing what he needs on the field.
Yeah. And then his diet is probably spotless.
Incredible.
Although apparently Chad Johnson, he might have been noticing at the time, he just ate McDonald's. Like, there's videos of him going to like McDonald's before practices, and he would say like, "Yeah, man, just do your workouts. You can eat whatever you want." And it's like, he's not technically wrong.
I think he subscribes to if it fits your macros.
I don't even think it counts. I think it's just
I don't even think he does either. But.
Yeah, no, I mean it's. I watched a video of Washington's like how their cook does stuff, and everything is regimented. Like, they know exactly, all right, this person needs to put on some weight, let's throw in some more approaches, throw some more rice, this guy needs to drop some weight, keep him away from the pizza. Like, they have everything, like, player by player, what each person needs, and making sure that they're in, because again, this is their job, so make sure everyone's in tip-top physical shape and is getting all the proper nutrients.
Yeah, and I think that's new, that nutrition aspect of it, or more recent for more people, because if you look at like documentaries or interviews from players like Chad Ochocinco Johnson from his time frame, they just ate whatever they wanted and thought they could perform. But now you're seeing this, hey, we're going to dial it in so we can get the best out of you.
Yeah.
And I think we see that on the field with stats and historic landmarks just being blown out the water.
Like, it seems like every single week.
Yeah.
And definitely every single year. Even yesterday was the first time that kickers from both teams hit field goals over 50 yards. And they both hit at 52, meaning they're now both tied for the third longest field goal in the history of the game. Which, like, even yesterday, which, like, seemed like a fairly unremarkable one-sided, all right, Brady and Gronk did their thing, and they set their record, and, like, that's it. Okay, even then, you've got, like, records being shattered that no one's talking about.
Yeah.
And I think, look at kicking, we see so many more field goals between 50 and 55.
Yeah.
That when it's under 45 even, we're like, oh.
Yeah, it's automatic. Yeah.
Let's go grab a new beer. This is it. And I think that's also a testament to it.
Yeah.
They're just becoming more specialized and understand their bodies.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, hindsight being 2020, it seems obvious, if we get their diet and nutrition right, we can probably boost their performance a little bit. But again, you're seeing the results now of people really being able to push themselves to a much better place because, again, they're not just chugging McDonald's. Which, again, I like McDonald's. I like it from time to time. Absolutely. I definitely don't try to eat it a lot. And I can't imagine really trying to perform at that level filled up with McDonald's or any kind of fast food, like you'd think you know, kind of, I don't want to say have the sense, but again, it really wasn't that well known for the general population for long periods of time that you should be eating pretty well.
I do make it a point on my cut to try to like squeeze in one of those kinds of meals at least once every other week. And it's not even like a craving satisfaction thing. It's all like, I want to make sure my body still remembers how to process these things. And that like, my first time having this in 4 months doesn't lead to, hey, like, I'm going to go to the bathroom for the 4th time in the last hour. I'll be back in another 10 minutes. Just like, hey, let's just keep the gears
Let's remember what this poison is. We know how to deal with this poison.
I guess on the same logic, I justify like, hey, like, you know, whatever I want to do. I do actually use the same logic for like, no matter what, hey, like, I mean, now with Greek yogurt, I don't even have to think about it, but like, before that was a staple, like, some sort of dairy.
Yeah.
Because I will not become accidentally lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
I do not want to go to the beach and not have ice cream.
Yeah, I don't eat cereal, so I really haven't drank milk in any consistency for a long period of time. Again, trying to cut, not eating ice cream. That's not a bad idea. Again, I have sour cream with some stuff, so that's kind of
You want a little quick, easy snack to like really drive the protein count up, and then like very macro friendly. You take some Greek yogurt, you pull that out. You take a scoop of protein powder, you throw that on top, mix that in there, take some berries, put that in, and you're basically just having what tastes like a frozen yogurt.
Yeah.
Throw it in the fridge for a little bit, I'm sure it'll be as cold too. It's a frozen yogurt. But it's just like, alright, like 40 grams of protein, here we go. Like, my half-hour anabolic window, I'm kidding. My half-hour anabolic window was met.
I need it simple. Like that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I need to be able to make it all in a 2-hour window, put it in bags in my fridge, and just pull it out when I need. And like some things I need to do fresh, like I have to do eggs fresh. I cannot do microwaved eggs. I want to blow my brains. I want to have to do that. But everything else, I'll reheat chicken. I'll reheat beef. I'll reheat turkey, and if I can eat it cold. Sometimes you just gotta eat it cold.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, you and I have talked. I don't like to cook food more than 3 days out, especially protein at least. But same thing. We both, before the game yesterday, we carved out our time.
Yep.
Prepped our food. I stuck to it today.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you guys yesterday, but I'm getting back on more of a meal plan this week.
Nice.
I've just been just judging what I'm eating the past couple weeks, but I'm trying to just focus back in. So it was good getting back in that prep, kind of, the fun of being in the kitchen.
It is nice.
Yeah. There is I like the way you described it. There's a different sort of like, one part of me can't wait for after, right now everything I'm doing, Sam, we talked about this off camera, everything that I'm doing is kind of based around Freedom Week.
Okay.
Because, Freedom Week.
Of course.
So I'm planning on like, hey, like, I want to do like a week of maintenance before we get in there, so I don't like get in there, start eating carbs, and just skyrocket up. I want to fit in a like 6-week chest and abs hypertrophy program that I've already got fairly ironed out. I'll be working 4, probably 5, because I don't like rest days, but ideally 4 days a week, and 3 of them are going to be chest days.
Well, if he gets abs, I'm not going to the beach. I'm not dealing with that.
Oh, it's I hate to break it to you.
It might be coming.
They're already coming in, and it's January. It's February, so
Not even cutting season yet.
We're about a month into cutting season.
All right, there we go.
I started early. I had some work to do. Well, like last year for me was just, hey, like let's get back into like a normal range.
Yeah.
And then this year for me it's okay. No, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna strut some abs. And so far so good. I ended up having the perfect sort of problem. I had to call the doctor up and be like, hey man, like I've been tracking my weight every day. I think I can explain away most of this, but like I've lost 9 pounds in 6 days. So, and I was like, well, like, I know I dropped some water weight at the beginning, and, like, the day before, like, today, I like went out and like had some drinks, so like okay, some extra dehydration. I'm like, I think I can explain like 5 pounds of weight in water weight.
Where's the other 4 though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got in a skateboard accident and shaved off
Yeah.
like a foot.
I did have a skateboard accident. Now I'm about to buy wrist straps because I figured out like, with me only doing low bar squats for a little bit, the best thing I figured out was like, okay, like squats feel more comfortable and I hit depth more comfortably going a bit wider, and that stance feels more comfortable with low bar. But with low bar, courtesy of the skateboard accident, wrists hurt. I'm about to buy wrist straps to help me squat. That's where we are now.
I mean, I personally would never do that, but if that's what you need to do to get your lift in, you do you, right?
When the quads look good, you can't tell how it got there.
Exactly. They won't see them. You're not gonna wear the wrist straps to the beach.
Hopefully.
Because I'm over here.
I will. Ooh, they'll come in handy. I'm stealing this off of you. Sam had an idea to be a gym douche for Halloween, and I'm like, that's
Okay.
perfect. You wear exactly the top I'm wearing right now. For those of you joining us on video, throw on a nice lever belt. Wrist straps and some straps for good measure.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna be a pirate for Halloween. I don't remember this conversation, but
I think you said it facetiously.
oh,
And
I'm gonna be a pirate this year.
I think I'm gonna be Vegeta.
Second option was the horn guy who stormed the Capitol. That was my second costume option. That's not a bad one.
Or we could go with the streaker from the Super Bowl.
True. Tim the Tatman had a great phone video of him getting absolutely plastered.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, this dude in the white polo just full
He was
body
on a
strutted.
mission.
Yeah, no, he because the streaker definitely juked one of the heavier security guards, and this
Yeah.
other guy just
You plowed him
yeah,
over.
it just 100% just knocked him over. It was
That other
great.
guy looked like he should have had pads on.
He probably should. It might have actually been Brian Urlacher. I'm not entirely positive.
I'll be honest, some of my ref friends were commenting on Facebook. Someone shared it. It was like, "Ooh, the security guard better watch out. Gotta keep the head up. Almost got caught for targeting."
The ref Sarah just throws like, come on, man. It's like, you're right. No, yeah, like, back to your thing on meal prep, there definitely is something different between, like, I'm just going to not eat junk and just kind of be better, and then actually going to do it. So, okay, I'm going to, like, again, for me, I need simple, and it makes it simple for me where I'm not, again, and we went to Buffalo Wild Wings the other day. I didn't worry about it there because we've talked about balance before. But, yeah, like, 6.5 days out of the week, I know what I'm eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't got there's no questions. I can get in my routine, and it just makes it a lot simpler. And I'm down 10 pounds in a little under a month, which again is the right.
Yeah.
Good rate.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
the right
2.5
way
a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much exactly following what you wanted to do.
Yeah. Goal.
Actually, I think exactly following what you wanted to do.
Goal is to be like as close to 260 at Freedom Week as possible, and that's what I imagine. Got 5 months. Oh yeah, I can do 40 pounds in 5 months.
Which I guess, quick aside for those not in our little cult.
Whoa.
Freedom Week refers to the week of July 4th.
Yeah, whatever that weekend till or from onwards, because
Yes.
we've had a couple where it's like falling on the Sunday or like even I think one year was the Monday.
Yeah.
And disclaimer, we are not in a cult. It's optional to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
Yes,
And it tastes delicious.
It does taste good.
Which is crazy. It wasn't Kool-Aid in Jonestown. It was like the knockoff brand because Kool-Aid was too expensive, which is hilarious. You know, you can't afford Kool-Aid. No, it literally was whatever the store brand off-brand was. Kool-Aid, I mean, they didn't really take a hit because everyone still drinks it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was never Kool-Aid.
It was like great value.
Literally, yeah, it was like bargain bin,
Cherry
sugar fruit red.
Oh, fruit red.
Oh.
Gonna have to raise dues if we can't afford it. Come on. But I chose this week to go back into meal prep because I have so much going on, right? I knew I was coming down here. We started recording at 8.
Yeah.
I have to work until 9 the next 3 nights, and then I have a game on Friday. And I was like, if I don't cook food on Sunday, I'm going to be at McDonald's, Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
I knew what the week was going to look like. I was like, I had to stop that ahead of time.
Yeah.
So it was just recognition.
Proper
and
planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Super helpful.
Maybe if you guys didn't keep me so busy, but
Hey, you know, we got things to do.
I guess you are helping me out.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Gotta get it back on the wagon one way or another.
Absolutely.
We were talking, like, you and I were talking, Nasty, a little bit about this yesterday. With, like, it's, you know, I admire y'all for doing that. I know I'm going to have a very rough transition when I stop being an unemployed grad student. And it's time to get back on meal prep. And even then, I think at least at first, I'm going to try to find a way to convince myself that the best thing to do is to cook my dinner, just double up on what I'm cooking, and then make that and take it at lunch. And we'll see how long that lasts. My money's on around 2 weeks. But, yeah, like, I know it's one of those things where it's like, okay, like, right now I have this luxury of just making exactly what I'm feeling at that moment in the perfect portion, like, everything weighed out exactly the way I want it, like, because, well, I mean, I work out, and then, except for when we're doing stuff, I sit at my laptop and read about this entire week. It's been
Cryptocurrency, yeah.
So, yeah. Whereas you guys, you know, have jobs that need you to go places and be things and do things and not be 10 steps from your kitchen at all times.
Right, we're not all YouTube stars who can go. Cook these healthy, great meals for every meal.
Yeah.
That would be the Patreon content, us cooking, which for me is like trimming, seasoning chicken and put it in the oven, and then cooking beef in a skillet. Like, it'd be really intense. I'm not Fit Man Cook over here. He does cool stuff with colors. Yeah. Everything I cook is brown.
And by Patreon, he means he'll add you to a Snapchat.
Yes. My premium Snapchat.
Wait, I'm not on your premium Snapchat.
I don't have a premium Snapchat yet.
Next episode.
When you do.
Gotta pay for this is my brown cooked meat. It's not that interesting.
All right. I think overall we've kind of hit everything we wanted to.
Yeah. Any final words, Nasty, for the people? Maybe. So, how about people who are considering refereeing? Because there's people who do that.
Yeah.
What would you tell the aspiring referee to be looking for? Ways to get involved with refereeing, that kind of stuff.
Sure. And I think that's a great question because if you didn't know, there is a referee shortage in the nation. A lot of sports, they have to move times around. They're not playing traditionally because they don't have refs to get to the game. So it is tough. I'll be upfront. I get yelled at a lot. But if you stick out, it's very rewarding. I have some of my best friends outside of our group are from officiating. So if you put in the time, it is rewarding. I mean, the beginning does suck, but it does for everything. It takes time to learn. If you want to get involved, I'd go look at your state public school website. So for where we are, it's an acronym, right?
Yeah.
Ohio's OHSSA. Just find them, whoever was your governing body in high school, and then reach out. Usually most of their web pages have links to find officials, and once you reach out, they'll invite you to class. You'll go through 5 to 10 weeks of class, and then you'll start working some JV games. So,
all right,
get out there. Maybe I'll see you on the field. Not you though.
No, I'm done playing. All right, I like it.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in. You've been listening to Unsolicited Lifting Advice. And Sam, how did you do the write-off? This is the first time I've been doing this.
I was gonna go. No, so thanks for listening to this week's episode. We appreciate the support. Follow all of our social media accounts, everything at ULA Podcast. We have a cool banner. Our logo, again, my sister drew, and then the handle ULA Podcast. That's Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, everything. This podcast will be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all other podcast listening platforms. And we will have the video version up on YouTube. Everything drops on Wednesday. Thank y'all very much for the support, and we will see y'all on the next one.
Have a good one.